He wakes in the night and realizes he may not be alone. It's late December 1985. A remote cabin in upstate New York. Snow covers the ground outside. Everything is still. Inside, Whitley Strieber is asleep. A successful writer, known for novels, screenplays, and a structured, grounded life. No public connection to the paranormal. No expectation of what was about to follow. And then, something wakes him, not fully, not clearly, but enough to feel it, a presence. He later describes opening his eyes and sensing that someone, or something, is in the room. Not imagined, not distant, close, too close. What followed would become one of the most widely discussed abduction claims in modern history, because Strieber didn't just describe a single event, he described a series of experiences, recurring, layered, difficult to place into a single explanation. In his account, he describes small figures, grey in tone, large, dark eyes, thin bodies, moving with purpose, but without clear communication. At times, he described them as physical, at others, almost indistinct, as if shifting between presence and perception. He reported being taken from his bed, not walking, not choosing to go, but unable to resist. He described being inside a space he did not recognize, a room without clear edges, lit without visible source. Surfaces smooth, featureless, controlled. He recalled being examined, observed, at times experiencing physical sensations, pressure, contact, discomfort, at other times a strange calm, as if fear and stillness existed together, and then fragments, memory breaking, gaps, time that could not be accounted for. In the days that followed, Strieber struggled to process what had happened. He initially questioned his own perception, whether it was a dream, a stress response, a misinterpretation of waking consciousness. But the experiences continued, and so did the questions. In 1987, he published Communion, a personal account of what he believed he had experienced. The book described not only the events, but the emotional impact, fear, confusion, a sense of intrusion, and the difficulty of explaining something that didn't fit within conventional understanding. The cover itself became iconic. A pale face, large eyes, watching. The case drew widespread attention. Supporters saw it as one of the most detailed personal accounts of alien encounter. Skeptics suggested alternative explanations: sleep paralysis, hypnagogic hallucinations, memory reconstruction, psychological stress. Strieber himself explored multiple possibilities. He did not frame the experience as purely extraterrestrial. At times, he described it as something more complex, something not easily categorized, not strictly physical, not strictly internal, a phenomenon that seemed to exist between definitions. He later worked with psychiatrist Dr. Donald Klein and others, using hypnotic regression to explore fragmented memories. Sessions produced additional details. He described being guided through structured environments, rooms that felt functional rather than random, as if designed for specific purposes. He recalled tables or surfaces where examinations took place, with instruments he could not clearly identify, but which seemed precise and controlled. At times, he described close interaction with the beings, standing near him, observing him, sometimes communicating not through spoken words, but through a form of direct understanding or impression. He also reported moments where his sense of self felt altered, disorientated, as if his awareness was being influenced or redirected. There were descriptions of being shown images, brief, unclear, sometimes symbolic, rather than direct explanations. He spoke of a recurring sense that the experience was not entirely physical, that parts of it felt as though they were happening within perception itself, yet still carried the weight of something real, because what emerged wasn't a single, clear narrative, but a series of impressions, moments, sensations that didn't fully resolve into certainty. Over the years, Strieber continued to speak about the experiences, not as proof, but as something that happened to him, something that affected him, something he could not fully explain. And that may be the most enduring part of the case, because it isn't just about what was seen or what was remembered, it's about what it felt like to wake up and no longer be certain that you were ever alone. And whether the experience was external, internal, or something we don't yet fully understand, the question remains: what do you do when your reality changes and doesn't change back?